Hello and welcome to this special edition of Contact Center Showcase, where we bring you the news, views, and even some interviews about the tactics and the techniques, and specifically the technologies that keeps our buoyant contact center industry really ticking along nicely. And there's some very interesting and exciting things happening in our industry worldwide and in technologies. And so today, looking at Smartz solutions, in my 40 plus years in this industry, I think I've seen every call center technology coming to light. Many of them have disappeared. But quite seriously, when I first engaged with Smartz late last year, early into this year, 2020, I have never ever seen anything quite so exciting, and the opportunities that it presents for us as an industry. Also more exciting than that, or as exciting, is the fact that it's a South African developed product. So you're going to see Smartz solutions, the suite, and in particular, I want you to focus on some of the really interesting stuff done in the human asset management component. But guest today, starting off with the MD of Smartz Solutions, James Guthrie. James, why don't you just give us a bit of background to the origins of Smartz and how you see it now positioned in the world of omnichannel technologies today. James.
Hi, Henry. Hi, Rod. Thanks very much for the introduction. I'm saying those great words. Hopefully the demo today can live up to that and be able to sit and show some really exciting technologies to everybody. Some background. My background, I've been in call centers and contact centers for 25 years, 10 years as an implementer. So I did implementations, and then 10 years in running operations of just over 1,000 seat, 1,200 seat contact center. So in that period, I learned both sides of the aspects, and I found out where there were a lot of shortcomings in that, where you've got multiple technologies running disparate systems, and about to sit and collate them and bring them together to a central system to be able to get more insight was very difficult. So you couldn't run operations like competently with all the data being disparate. So building on Smartz, I'm saying Smartz was, we started development on the platforms about 6 years ago. In that time, we developed and we started adding in more functionality. In 2017, we started looking going to market. In 2018, we launched in South Africa, and we took a nice slow strategy to roll out to market. Not a big bang. We want to make sure we can deliver and make sure we meet all the expectations of our clients. End of 2019, we started doing more investigations into looking at rolling out our international strategy. And then in beginning of January or beginning of March in 2020, we opened offices in the US. And I'm saying that was with just after that COVID hit everything, and we thought we had made a bit of we weren't sure if our decision was right and the timing was right. But looking at what's happened over this period, I'm saying we've had huge acceptance within the market. We're busy, I'm saying, growing on that. We've got, I think we're going on 12, almost 13 partners there. And our strategy has been very successful. Our big thing is that we want to make sure that we enhance the agent experience and we enhance the customer experience. And that's how we built our platform on that. So hopefully from the presentation, you're going to get some insight into that. And hopefully after this, we can engage a bit better, a bit more with yourselves. We'll have to show you more how the platform can enhance your environment.
Excellent, James. Thanks so much for that. And we'll start now engaging with the colleagues and get straight into the demonstration. Thank you very much for your time.
2017, I joined up with Smartz, had a look at the application, obviously cloud-based, and I think they've done a great job in consolidating the application. Very excited about the prospect of building out a partner base throughout the whole of Africa. And as you heard James say, we just opened the office in the US, and that's going very well.
Excellent.
So thanks, Rod. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Henry. Next on our panel, I'd like to bring in Lee Hicks. Lee's come from a long line of call center operations elsewhere in the globe, India, if I remember correctly, and Dubai. Lee, why don't you join us and just give us a very quick overview from an operational executive's point of view. What are you finding that operational executives are looking for in a omni-channel solution? Lee, come on in.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Rod. As you mentioned, I come from the operations side of things, so I'm not on the technical side. So I deal with kind of the implementation and the benefits the ops guys can get from it. To answer your question there, Rob, what I would probably say is, from the various different implementations and discussions I've had across different business verticals, insurance, medical, banking, etc., there's probably two main things that we get asked, okay, from the ops point of view, how's this going to benefit me? One is, as James touched on actually, the disparate systems, the reporting. There's that old saying about if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And we always get asked from the ops point of view, how does this improve my reporting and my productivity? And we'll go through that when we look obviously at the actual platform. It's all tied together, so you get a holistic reporting across all channels. So you can increase your productivity there. But the other main thing, that's obviously from the management point of view. The other big thing I would mention, we also get asked quite a lot, is user adoption. How are we going to get our employees to kind of buy into this? Because obviously that change from legacy platforms into a combined system which covers all different channels, you can get that pushback a bit sometimes. So we kind of get that, but we work around it different ways. I'll actually give you an example very quickly. I know I'm on a time constraint, Rod, so don't worry. A quick one was
your turn will come to do a demo shortly. I think.
Thank you. A quick one was we had a QA team. They were pushing back because it's got a QA portion in there, and that was very tied to the existing QA system. We went in there and we did that kind of old school stuff. We kind of kicked the management out the room and did a workshop with them and the team leaders. They eventually got the benefit of, and something I will mention, just touch on, is they actually ended up completely re-engineering their QA process, because they took all the stuff they had previously, they've been tweaking over the years and added to, and went, okay, this does everything. Let's re-engineer the whole thing. They put a document together and presented it to their management. So it's kind of empowering their staff as well. So there's a couple of different, they're the two main things. It's the staff, but we get their buy-in that way, and the reporting, so the management understand the power of the platform and everything they can see. They're really the two pushbacks we come across mostly from the operational side.
Okay, right. In a few moments, we're going to ask you to actually open up the app and start drilling down and showing the delegates what it's all about. Sitting in the wings there, a customer, a user, Leo Woznica, who runs in fact, I'm going to ask you to expand on just a little bit of background on VVM, scale of operation. And Leo, if you can, within 2 or 3 minutes, also just give us a quick snapshot of how you responded to the lockdown back at the end of March. And we're literally forced overnight to redeploy your staff. Leo, would you come in?
Hi, Rod. Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. I'm the CEO of VVM. We're a debt collection credit management company with and we're one of the early adopters of Smartz. So we run about a 1,000 seater. Our positioning with Smartz really started to give us the flexibility to move into the world of digital. Funny enough, COVID pushed us into another world, because in order to do what we needed to do over the lockdown, we needed that cloud-based solution with all the features that would help us manage. We had, I think, at the peak, about 860 people running off the platform. So our interest in Smartz started in one area, it landed up in another, and I think the remote process on the platform, Rod, has actually served us very well, be it reporting, the ability to implement processes quickly, easily, and really enter the world of true digital, because voice became a very, very different world over the last few months.
Okay, excellent. One more thing before we let you go on that one. We were talking about it the other day, your entree into the BPO market under your new brand, Intelli BPO. How did that transpire? How did that come about?
I don't want to say it transpired by accident, but actually it transpired purely by, well, let me say by accident, because what was happening as we entered lockdown, yeah, we had remote capability, but right under our noses, we had another capability. And that capability was our ability to share our platform with clients and stakeholders, Rod, and suddenly we were actually talking less on the phone and interacting with customers on different journeys, be it on live chat, WhatsApp, two-way messages, email. So that was really the start of our our digital outsource business, because, or we like to say, non-voice or social. So actually, I think one of the positives that came out of it is, hold on, we've got this wonderful platform, we've got great staff. Now suddenly we've opened up a new avenue, and we're actually very, very excited about it.
Well, we're going to cut you there because we'll set up another showcase session where you can focus purely on how you're using the platform in a BPO operation. I'm going back to Henry now. Henry, why don't you just give us a potted pen picture of where Smartz is going globally? You mentioned in a discussion we had a few days ago about the extended reach, not only in the US, but elsewhere in the world where Smartz is going. So will you come in?
Yeah, sure. So I think let's just quickly touch on the US operation. So, obviously it's a massive market for us. So, after investigation and joining Smartz, I had a look at the product and thought, and had a discussion with the executive team, is to say, look, I mean, this product is really that well-rounded that it could really sit anywhere internationally. So we engaged, obviously, I worked for a US company, so we engaged a couple of resources out there just to get a poll in terms of, how the application stacks up in that marketplace. We did that using a couple of resources, as I said, that we knew in the area, and these are professional people. So we did a due diligence out there. And as James says, we just recently opened the office. We employed 2 people out there to take the application into that marketplace. To date, we've signed up 12 partners, and these are partners that have all legacy technologies out in that space. And, we've got the first 2 implementations happening right now. So I think the application stacks up. It's a disrupting application as far as I'm concerned, and I believe there's a massive opportunity for us in that market as well as the African market space.
Wonderful. I also heard through the grapevine that an unnamed energy organization with global reach is taking Smartz into, was it 20 countries or 30 countries, something like that?
Yeah, and that's the beauty about the Smartz application. I mean, in terms of its resilience and the way we can adapt the application. So it is a petroleum company, yes. We're doing it through a partner of ours in the UK. And it's not necessarily a custom engagement suite that we're doing right now. It's really sitting on top of a risk management engine, and we're doing all of their notifications to both B2B and soon to be B2C across 25 countries. So we're doing a lot of SMS notifications, making sure that on the risk application we can notify these customers in terms of any anomaly going through a credit card, etc. So very, very good opportunity for us. And also from a CX point of view, we will obviously push that into the next phase within this petroleum organization.
That's great news. Very proud it's a South African company taking their tech internationally. We do have a Q&A session open. So any specific questions for any of the panelists, please just type them into the box and we'll follow them through there. I just wanted to bring up 3 slides from my side of things. Some of you might know that over the last 4 to 5 months, I've been working together with Hilaria Finderio and Dion Skeppers and Knowledge Executive, and we've produced the contact center technology trends just to get an idea of where is the industry going in the next 12, 18 months. This report will be published from the 1st of November. We're waiting for our partners, Knowledge Executive, to do the final audit on the results, and it will be shared with the industry. There will be a special edition made available to all Smartz interested parties and customers as well. So if I can just click that first slide, and what we're looking at here is, and I've just taken a few tables out of the report itself, but what is interesting, if you look at the tech adoption characteristics of the South African respondents, and we were very chuffed to have nearly 70 respondents participate in this in the survey. But it certainly looks like in South Africa we have a culture of early adoption of technology. So I'm already seeing that with the clients I work with. I think once again COVID brought with it some benefits. One of those being this prejudice against cloud seems to have disappeared in a puff. And so we're getting a lot of early adopters coming in there. If we have a look at the top vendor selection criteria, not surprising, cost is still a major factor. And this I find very interesting and exciting because South African products, being rand-based billing, all of a sudden are very, very appealing. Now, as that the volatility of currencies really starts kicking in, and operators are looking at their bottom line and ways to save costs on it, South African products certainly have an edge in the marketplace. So, cost, one, not surprisingly, is a major factor. Flexibility, right up at the top there. Stability, architecture, and not unsurprising, vendor experience way down at the bottom. So that's one of the tables, but when you read the report, you'll see the substantiation on that. Evaluation of I've made a mistake here, I've duplicated that slide, sorry. There's the other slide I wanted to show up. Once again, the industry has been in the doldrums for a while, but particularly in the last 6 months, we're seeing operators all of a sudden expressing a huge amount of interest in increasing their capability, capacity, and functionalities. So when we probed across, if you can see the slide, the different key functionalities, you'll see that in most cases, it's 50 to 60% of the respondents are either planning to acquire or to upgrade the existing resources across some of those previously maybe back burner type features of their platforms. So this has been a real eye opener, and I think it's an indicator that the industry is alive and well and gearing ourselves up for the new tomorrow, however strange it might be. So that said, I'm now going to ask, there are no questions coming in yet, but please feel free to just key in anything that you might want one of the panelists. Lee, you're up next. This is where we really sort of take the covers off, and if you would start taking us through smart solutions, some of the key features of it, and some of the functionality. Obviously, we won't have time to cover all of the rich features in there, but if you can just highlight where you feel that the participants would like to see the features of the smart solution. Lee, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Rod. I agree, there is a lot in the platform, so we're not going to have time to go through everything, but I thought what we'd probably do as a best bet is, first off, I'll give you an overview of the actual platform from a single slide. I'm running two things, so I'm looking over here, so excuse me. And from a single slide, just talk you through that. But there's nothing better than seeing like a live demo. So we'll go into a live system and just touch on some of the nice stuff, like some sentiment analysis and customer journey for the CX, and just a couple of bits on that. We can always obviously return back to them later. Now, I'll just share that screen first off. Move you guys out the way. Okay. Now, this is basically an overview of the whole platform. It is all cloud-based, so everything you see here is actually in a single container in a single URL, and you get everything. There's no bolt-ons, add-ons here. But as James mentioned, the whole thing was designed around the actual customer. It's not like the legacy systems where you have obviously an email coming in, a voice call, an inbound call, an outbound call, a two-way SMS, and then kind of behind the scenes you're trying to tie it all together. The whole platform is built around the customer. I'll actually show that to you as we go through. Now, the way this operates, obviously, they can come into the platform any channel. We are fully, obviously, as I mentioned, we are two-way SMS, an official WhatsApp for business partner, Telegram is another IM platform with social media and Facebook, Twitter, etc. So they come into Smartz communication, which is the heart of the platform. Now, breaking it down into like four main parts, which is our inbound, our outbound, our obviously integration aspects, And this is a very big add-on, the human asset management side. So on the inbound, just a very quick overview. They can come in. Obviously, we do have bot technology, obviously customizable to build into that self-service, because even with COVID and everyone fleeing the contact centers, no one still wants to talk to anyone. So we have got the bot technology here. These are not Google, IBM, by the way. These are actually our own bots. So they're customized to your particular customer. From here, obviously, they can break out to our unified agent screen, which I'll talk through, or they can come straight into our unified screen. Now, these are a couple of bits that you won't see elsewhere. Smartz AID is automatic interaction distribution. I want to show you this in real time. It's kind of it's taking the AI, the sentiments, and the customer's ratings from previous interactions with you, and pushing to the best agent for that. And that kind of improves your NPS scores, your brand loyalty, all that aspect. We'll talk about that. But as I come into our single screen, obviously we do have, as you would expect, obviously the voice dialers. If I have time, I'll touch on our intelligent dialer, because that's actually something new. It's one step above a preview dialer. Call scripting, so obviously call flows can be built on the fly as well and published out very quickly if you change it. Screen recording, we're coming in with that. That obviously is very large. We've added it in quite a lot for the US. It's not really been requested too much here on the South African side, but we've, obviously once it's out there, we publish it for everyone. Two-way SMS, official WhatsApps. iTemplates are a marketing tool. We won't have time, but I'll send you some details on that. Full email integration, Facebook, Twitter, bots, and as you would expect, web chat. But some of the cool stuff across here, because a lot of people say they've got some of this. Inbuilt in here is sentiment analysis, both real-time and historical. So the agent can see kind of the smiley face, the angry face, the neutral, but behind it, there's a whole algorithm building. And what that does, obviously, it's tied to the bot technology as well. It's not just keywords. It's actually reading the context of the conversation. So as it kind of builds up, then it can start to flag earlier and earlier and earlier. This social media conversation or etc. is going poorly, flag it to a team leader. And that kind of like builds in that container technology. We also have full customer ratings at the other end of the platform. So even though the sentiments might be really good, the agent is perfect, but the customer is rating them poorly, you read both ends of the conversation. Again, that ties to what I mentioned about the challenges of operational management and the reporting. The more information you can get, the more you can actually say, okay, it's not my agents, it's the tools. They haven't got the system to actually answer the customer. That's why he's rating them poorly. So again, it increases productivity. We have obviously got standard IVR self-service, the old legacy, press 1 for your statement, press 2 for your PUP code. Naturally, goes off, data dives into your warehouses. Same as our bot technology, which is where our agent and analyst comes in. The agent is the front-facing, branded, these are the 5 things I can do. The analyst is the part that goes off and does the data dive. I will mention briefly, obviously, because this is a very high-level overview. These are specific to your customers. I mentioned these, learning your industry. We've got one, it's actually Leo's one in PDN, which is learning purely collections. It's learning interest payments, deferrals, etc. We've got another one, which Henry referenced with our American clients. It's actually in South America. It's currently learning Portuguese. So they learn Pacific. We have our inbound. We have full outbound capability. I will mention just the good stuff here. We've got what you would expect. The sentiments and the ratings are nice. Intelligent dialer as well is very nice. We all have a predictive dialer. We know what it is, the buyers, the aspects, the 5 nines. Obviously, it says, okay, this is my algorithm. I've got this many calls going out at the moment. I'm making this many connects. I've got this many of the agents available. This is how many calls I need to make in the next 2 minutes. And that's what you're paying for the algorithm for. Our intelligent dialer, which we're just releasing, goes one step further. Because we have all the information about the different channels this customer likes and prefers, the intelligent dialer, when it's loaded up, will say, okay, Monday morning, here's my 100,000 records I need to dial. But the first 3 on that at 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, the system knows it doesn't actually answer it until Thursday afternoons. So the system itself will go, why am I clogging up my algorithm? I'll try it on Thursday afternoon. He never answers on a Monday. You can override it. But it's kind of bringing in that best time to call technology, which increases obviously your management time. They're not watching the dialer all the time. Increases your agent productivity because they're only trying the people that's actually going to answer the phone. We've got a full drag and drop IVR work builder we're releasing as well, whereby you probably cut an SMS campaign to begin with. It's obviously most cost effective. out of the 90,000 you send out, 80,000 don't respond to the SMS. You can auto flow off to a dialer campaign or auto flow to an email campaign. And you can build up your workflow and structure beforehand. Most of you have got big data departments, BI teams who are managing your telephone matrix. But within here as well, it also gives that information back to the ops guys. A lot of this platform is designed for ease of use and giving management capability and information back to the end users as well. Obviously, we have APIs for direct feeds backwards and forwards in here. I'll talk about our RESTful APIs as we go through here. So we have full outbound capability. Rod mentioned I come from an ops background across obviously different continents. I've seen a lot of dialers. We've got some very nice stuff in here, but the one bit that's always been missing from a dialer perspective is the human asset management side. We're in a Docker and container in Azure for security reasons. So every client has their own container with a single sign-in. So as the user signs in, they actually go through our human asset management platform, which has core HR, addresses, when they're joined, promotions, top salespersons, top collectors, etc. But it also has a full QA platform in here. I mentioned briefly when I was introducing myself, full QA capability, build them, weight them, score them, auto-fail them, have a 3-tier assessment, all within the platform. Nicely, because it is within that platform, tied to that re-engineering the process I was talking about. What that particular one did was, as they sign in here, if QA keeps failing these people, they build a full e-learning course, again, within Smartz. And as the agent signs in here, he sees, I need to do this 30-second knowledge nugget before I sign on because QA keep failing me. Brings all these different departments together, what I touched on about the reporting. It brings the coaching into it, it brings the QA into it, and the ops guys all within one platform, all on one system, and they all can see each other what's going on. Otherwise, you've got all your different departments in silos. It has got full customer surveys, full recruitment, and full time attendance. Time attendance, again, ties in reporting. I'm looking at the time, but I'll give you a quick example here. We were looking at one of the clients, and they were looking at the contact center solution, going, why is my SLA always bad at 8 o'clock in the morning? And they always obviously phone their team leaders, their ops guys, and they said there's taxi strikes, there's problems here, or they couldn't access because the internet was down where they're working from home. But as they're logging through the time and attendance, they can see their SLA is bad on here, but they can also see the reasons why. They not have to run backwards and forwards between ops, HR, QA, everything is in one platform. So we've got full human asset management in here. This is all our own IP. There's no third party in here, obviously apart from WhatsApp and Facebook, because obviously we have the plugins. But with this, it's all built on RESTful APIs. So from here, we can do full CRM integration if you wanted to. It's our system. We know exactly, and provided we've got an API for your system or the one you're using, we can obviously scope out a full CRM integration. The other side of the coin is, though, CRMs can be quite costly. We also have full webhook technology. So anything that's exposed in a database, we can actually pass to the agent. The agent can change it, update it, add to it, and then just push it straight back into a database. So again, we've kind of built it for tiers. It's very scalable. You can have the big, obviously like Leor's and the US guys, like 1,000, 2,000 seaters that want full CRM integration. But we've also got the smaller clients who say, look, I don't want that. All I need is I've got a database. I just need to push back and forwards and get the information to my clients. So we have all that aspects here. And built on the end is a full analytics. If I have time, I'll show you this, but obviously layering those analytics of the human asset management, the QA, the contact centers, the SLAs, the answer times, you get a very detailed drill down to a granular level of actually what the issues are. You're not just running around. So there's a full reporting suite on here. Now that's a very, very high level overview. Normally I'd spend a bit more time talking you through this before I jumped into a live demo. But I always think it's best as to touch and feel, to see what it looks like. Rod, are there any questions before I actually jump into the live demo? Okay. I'm on a full screen, so I'm not seeing it.
Thanks for that. We don't have any specific questions coming in, but I'm going to ask Henry to come in. If you can just unmute yourself and bring your video up. Henry, I'd like you to explain how the Smartz suite is an all-in-one package as opposed to a basic platform with a bolt-on options all over the place. And it's one of the things I found very exciting about Smartz is is all-in-one license, is my understanding. But Henry, would you expand on that, please?
Yeah, sure, Rod. So, I mean, obviously, from a legacy perspective, the complexity was always around, having the ACD and then bolting on an IVR, bolting on a quality assurance management system, as well as a recorder, CRM, etc. Do you want me to start my video? Because you seem to, okay, there we go. All right, so I think what we've done a really good job at is to take all the elements that are really pertinent to the actual customer engagement contact center environment and put those into a suite, which is obviously the Smart Suite that you've seen here. And I think, again, from a analytics point of view is, I think the big focus that we had around the development around the application was really that customer journey and tying that in from inception when the customer actually calls into the business, how we capture that information, how we track it, how we report back on it, how we actually create marketing campaigns going out of it. So to encompass that entire journey, and then also to, look at, engage how you actually treated that customer, what that experience was like. So, the application embeds all the information pertaining to that customer and gives you all the analytics about that customer so that you as a business are making informed decisions and also protecting your brand in the same way. So I think that's really the biggest differentiator. And I've not seen any application that really does this in its entirety in the marketplace.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for that, Henry. Lee, it's back to you, and I think you're going to take us into the actual demo now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rod, and thank you, Henry. Let's jump into the demo itself. Let me stop that one. Now, let's open that one up. James, Henry, if you'd like to pop some emails in as a live demo, if someone else does, or WhatsApps, web chats, whilst I'm logging in. Now, a couple of things you will notice. I'm just sharing the screen here. I'm going to touch on the high points. I'm not going to go through a whole click here, click there, because we won't have time and it can get a bit mundane. So I'm just going to touch on some of the nice, cool stuff more than anything else. We can always circle back for another login. From an agent perspective, as I mentioned, we have that single sign-on. So from here, they can see, first off, everything they do. It's very much giving that ownership back. So I can see from, obviously it's early in the morning, I've done nothing as an agent. But I can see my stats, I can see my ratings, I can see everything I generally have done for the day so far. We talked about that single sign-in. If QA have told me I've got an issue, I haven't got the coach from, I'm working remotely, for example, the coach can't come to me and give me an overview, look, you really need to do that, you need to do this. I can see here, I've got some courses I need to do. Coach can't get to me, learn this. Obviously, again, it's all the HR stuff. So I've got my leave, my time and attendance, my shift schedule tied to the WFM. We use obviously inbuilt WFM in here as well. So everything from a corporate point of view, I see from here. But let's jump straight into the agent stuff. The first thing you will notice is it is dark themed. Next release, you can reskin it, but the reason we went dark themed was, again, conscious decision. White screens look very nice, but if your agents and your staff are sitting in front of that for 8 hours a day, it's going to hurt their eyes. So you can change it, but it ships with the default dark skin. A couple of things I'll just mention on here, just talk you through a few things. We do allow them obviously some control back here, but some of the cool stuff we've done here. This one up here, with COVID, everyone kind of fled the contact centers. And let's be honest, everyone started throwing out rain SIM cards, data allowances, everything like that. And it was costing a fortune. And we brought in a different approach to it. They can turn on a low data usage. Now, what that means is obviously it strips out a lot of the graphics you're going to see here. But from a data perspective, I'll give you a quick example. We had an agent talking for about 4.5 hours on a shift, and they used just under 158 megabytes of data. So it strips it out, but it's very, very cost effective. And it ties into something else I'll show you now. We measure the connectivity to the agent as well as the SLA. So we have that in here as well. A couple of things you would expect. Obviously, they can SMS, pop out emails, breaks, etc. The soft phone, by the way, is inbuilt in here. Everything is in that container. The soft phone, the recorders, there is no third-party deployment at all. So obviously we do allow them again, self-management. Rod mentions as well, I'm ops. We all know about the fact that the agent will say, no, my online time was low because I was working emails, or my outbound was low because I was working inbound. So we give them aggregated totals so they can manage themselves again, because most of them are remote. Another little thing that's nice in here, chat. They can chat to their team leaders, and the team leaders can chat back. They're not in contact centers anymore. They can't raise a hand and say, can you help me? So they can reach out to a team leader or support guys and chat to them and get the support that way as well. A couple of things just down here. Let me just join a couple of campaigns. Facebook, I'm not going to join that. Let me whack that in there as well. I see I've got my emails. Yeah. These are obviously what's being worked. You can see the omni-channel. You can jump between screens here. I'm going to take James, for example. Thank you, James. As a WhatsApp. I'm just going to do one WhatsApp and one email, and then we'll look at some of the reports and stats. Now, what you'll start to see up here, the system knows already who this person is. Because it's that unified screen, we're not jumping to a CRM. And this is very useful when you're using social media. You're not asking necessarily for an ID number, what you probably would do for security reasons, but an order number or a reference. The system will prompt already, hi James. I'm not asking, can I take your name? Can I take your ID number? It's already there. And you can see some of the sentiment analysis coming through here. Now that's quite nice. That's very useful. Another nice feature, I'm just going to touch on the high points. Yes, you can search across all channels. It searches both the queues that have been worked, the queues that are waiting to be worked, right across. So those ones where they copy 5 different email addresses, you can auto close them down here. But remember right at the start, it's type of customer and the customer journey. From here, the agent can also see every interaction that customer has had with you. I can see that James is being quite active across a couple of different channels, WhatsApp, etc. And also from here, from an agent, I can see everything that they've actually done. I can see all the WhatsApps. I can see the emails. I can see the web chats. I'm not jumping between CRMs. It's all right in front of me for first call resolution. And also, I'm just going to take one of mine, because I know I've got something. I'm going to wrap that up. So I want to show you something else as well on a voice call. Because as Leo's on the call, this came very useful for collections. And obviously, any kind of collection management, debt management. When they turn around and say, oh, sorry, I'm on a web chat, a WhatsApp, an email, I'm sorry, I didn't agree to pay you then. Why are you actually asking me now? Normally, that might go off to a queries team or an email, and everyone's trying to delay it. It might be an order, it could be a sales, it could be anything. And all they're doing is trying to delay it. But the agent also has access to every channel. They can get the recording, they can download it, they can play it back on the phone call, they can WhatsApp it back to the customer and say, this is what you actually agreed to. These are the bank details you gave us to pay into. First call resolution, all within here. So, and again, that's across all channels. I'm going to touch on a couple of other things. I just want to touch on the reports and then we'll move on. Naturally, as you would expect, you can escalate, you can drop in templates. We have got a bit of gamification in here, which ties into the reward points, and you can put leaderboards, have people's names moving up and down, then depending on how they're wrapping up, completing the actual transaction itself. Now, James, if you want to just send me another one in, so I'm just showing the AID. These work the same, so I'm not going to bother with that. That's a two-way SMS. You can see it works exactly the same. Wait for James to come through. Oh, I'll whack myself one through quickly. There we go. Thank you very much. Now you saw this. This didn't come down in the queues. This is the AID. It's a fresh conversation. It's not a continuation. But what it's done is, looking at that customer journey, the ratings that James has rated this particular agent, the sentiments that come through this conversation, it's going to look for the best available agent. James gets on with Lee for an agent. If Lee's available, he's going to Lee. if you've got anything over like a 30, 40 seater, you're never going to get through to the same people. And that is really going to build that brand loyalty, that fluffy feeling that, okay, they do actually care about me. I'm speaking to the same person all the time. Oh, hi, James. Hi, Lee, my router's not working again. Oh, it's the same issue as before, is it, James? Let me check, because I can see it. Very nice brand loyalty stuff. I'll quickly show the email, but I want to show you some reports. Let me wrap that one up. Obviously, just so you know, all your reporting's in there. And again, it's picking up who this is. This is from the email address, not the telephone number. But I'm just going to log out here, because I was talking about layering those reports and putting them all together. What we've done here, I know that Leo has given me permission to go into his instance, so I will actually jump in there in a second, just to show you how it all ties together nicely. But from both ends, either from the human asset management side or from the communication side, you access those layered reports. And nicely from here, you can see obviously the recorders, everything's built in here. We'll quickly look at that WhatsApp. Your ops management find a problem. They go away, they look at the CRM, they say, okay, what's the issue? Let me look at the message, let me find out what's going on, you know, and then drill down on it. It takes time. We do these differently. If you build the report, okay, directly from here, there's the ratings that I was talking about. Thank you, you gave me a 5. So direct from here, from the reports, you can see the transactions. That's some of the bot technology we have in here. So again, across all channels, everyone has access to increased productivity. And that's part of one of the very strong theories behind it. Now, just also on the reports, I want to jump into, actually, we're going to that one. As I said, Leo has given permission. Unfortunately, he is on the line with me, so he can confirm I do have permission for this. Let me just jump in here. Because here you'll see obviously a bit more on the QA and how you can overlay this. Just on I'm on a 3G connector, so bear with me. Not I jump into my other one. What we can do here is, I've done in my demo, we've got the address. Remember that core HR? And I'm just going to see if I can log in there whilst I'm just doing this one. We've got their address. We're actually measuring their connection speed. I'm just jumping around for this slightly. There we go. And from here, Ops can see every single thing as well. They can see, has Jack done his e-learning course? I see that the SLAs are still low. I see his quality scores are still low. Has he done his e-learning? I can check all my QA performance stuff. Everything across all platforms is available in one view. And this is very nice, just I'm waiting for to go in. We actually measure the connection speeds. And what we've done is, the system is looking at, okay, this agent is logged in voice, email, and WhatsApp, for example. However, his connection speed is very low, even on low data usage. So, as a setting in here, they say, turn it off. I'm worried about my call quality. Don't send voice calls through to that particular agent. Jump in there. So it won't go through, it just work on that. Now, from that point of view, again, if you're doing like telemarketing, if you get a hold of someone, you want to keep that. You don't want bad call quality. We have another customer who, I'll be quite frank, doesn't care about the SLAs and customer service, says, turn it off. I'm not really worried. If they connect, send it through. I'll give an example of that. Here we go. There we go. By the way, everyone you're seeing here are remote. Whilst that's coming through. I personally like this one, okay? Because I've got all the QA scores, I've also got, when people logged in, I've got their attendance. That example I said about my SLA at 8 o'clock in the morning, what actually happened? I don't want to go running off to my ops guys to find out. I can see here exactly why they were late, and the agent has entered that information through. These are all remote agents. That's a bad connection. Not logged out, just a bad connection. Now, there's a lot you can do. I'm just trying to give you some of the high points on it. I know obviously we need to take some questions and stuff, but we're more than happy to spend time to go through a bit further. But Rod, I'll hand back to you because I will carry on going on about this. So I'll hand back to you.
Excellent. That's really great stuff. Thanks, Lee. I'm going to ask Henry to come in first with just a couple of high points, and particularly if anybody is keen, can they engage with you to set up separate demos? Henry, will you come in?
Absolutely, Rod. So the offer is open. You know, obviously, if you want a demo, we'd gladly entertain that. You know, we'd go further, is to say, if you have an opportunity or you want us to have, or you want to test the technology within your environment, we do offer a POC for about 2 weeks, obviously based on certain milestones. And again, we encourage you to visit our website. Rod will send you, I'm sure, a pack after this at www.smartz-solutions.com. You have the ability to go online and request a demo if needed. Yeah, thanks, Rod.
Excellent. Thanks, Henry. Now I'm going to bring Leo back in again as a customer user. Leo, won't you just in a minute or two just highlight some of the features that our delegates have now seen in action, how it's actually had a practical implication on your side of the operations. Leo?
Thanks, Rod. For us, it goes beyond the communication. I must say what has impressed me most as a customer and has been the insights that we're getting from the human asset management side, the way we've managed to communicate with our staff. Surveys have been a really, really powerful tool. We started using the feature during lockdown, gained the most unbelievable insights, made very positive changes. E-learning, the e-learning has really, really been great. We have at the moment about 650 agents, actually more, sorry, we've got about 720 staff working remotely. Those insights, the way we can manage and track that remote workforce, the fact that we can bring our on-site workforce into the same ecosystem. So I think, Rod, one needs to look at what the platform gives you. We've moved away from multiple systems to one system. Our QA, our e-learning, our insights, our remote management, really in one ecosystem. And I think that is really, really powerful. That is what has helped us, you know, from an ROI perspective. And I suppose one of the big advantages for us at VVM has been the lack of CapEx. At no point in time have we had to go out there and write multi-million rand checks for servers, for any of those things. We've really taken existing kit, we put the agents on board, and yeah, I think today really just touched the tip of the iceberg, but the power comes through the knowledge that you gain by using the platform and exploring the reports.
Leo, thanks for that. A few days ago, you showed me the way in which you handle inbound telephone calls and switch them into a digital journey, customer journey. I was actually blown away by that. Why don't you just expand on that very briefly? We have a few more minutes, but I think it's a really important use case that you adequately demonstrated the other day.
So, Rod, for those that understand the call center terminology and jargon, we moved. This actually occurred in steps. We had a dedicated inbound. By using the Smartz platform, we went to an omnichannel environment. Part of that was our ability to blend calls. So our agents could handle in and outbound simultaneously. We could control the process, but what you're referring to is we used the IVR in Smartz and the template builders, and when our customers and debtors phoned in, we actually created an IVR for them that we allowed them to jump straight into digital. By way of a simple example, push to go to WhatsApp or to live chat. And, you know, suddenly, not only did we do away with an inbound in our business, we actually were able to move people to digital. And I think that has been phenomenal. And in fact, part of that was to push all our different stakeholders to our online portal. And from Smartz, we draw the information and we're able to do deep insights into what they want. And because we've got the flexibility within Smartz, we were able to customize the customer journey. So yeah, it's been an unbelievable experience the last few months. So there's a silver lining to all the negativity around COVID, but really, really exciting stuff.
That's great stuff. Thanks so much for that. Yeah, and as I said, I've seen so many theoretical digital migrations, but it was only the other day when we were able to see it hands-on in your environment, to see this digital migration actually working with the permanence too. I'm quite sure those customers are going to stay in the digital environment.
Well,
forward.
Rod, I think the one thing, I know we are pressed for time, but the other area of the business that we've managed to change significantly was by bringing in all these channels and getting these human asset insights. We were able to take the ratings and really reposition staff across the different areas of the business, because we realized that, you know, the people we're engaging with, they were either getting frustrated or they were seeing good levels of service. So we've really managed to move our people across the business. So I thought that was a really, really interesting experience, because my non-voice component in the business has gone up threefold. I think I started with 4 people. I'm probably right now at about 42, and we have probably ramped up to get to about 60 now that we've integrated our emails into that journey. So our business is very different today, Rod.
That's wonderful news. Okay, we're coming up for wrap up. Now, James, I'm going to ask you just to come in with a little wrap up, just your personal perspectives on the future of Smartz going forward. What do you envisage the next year or so for Smartz?
I'm saying that's a big question, Rod. With all the technologies that are coming in, I'm saying if you look in some of the press announcements, you've got some very good partnerships we announced with respect to some very good workforce management planning, and then specifically also with speech analytics, bringing speech analytics into the QA, so you're doing auto QA with that, and then tying that directly into your assessments and your e-learning modules. So our big thing is to drive a lot of automations on backend to give companies more insight, but then also to tie all that information together to be able to give you a very good insight into your staff satisfaction, so employee satisfaction ratings. So because you've got all the sentiments, your e-learning, and all these data points we're picking up around your staff, and then also around the customers that are engaging with the platform, we are busy building models now to give companies insight into, I'm saying normal NPS scores and CSAT scores are fine, but taking that now, putting it on its head and giving you real-time information into insight into the satisfaction of your employees. So those are the big things. Is we've built a lot of information, and we've got a lot of data points. Is taking those data points and creating more insight for our clients. So that's where our big drive is going to be over the next year.
Henry, just to wrap up from your side, please.
Yeah. So thanks very much, and again, thanks for Leo. I think you know, as you've heard, we've had a great success with Leo and his organization, and you know, they're expanding in terms of their operations. So you know, again, as we roll these out throughout the US and locally, and I do believe that, you know, we've got every application that suits the African market as well. So yeah, the prospect of you know, having Smartz assist you in your business is real. Just as again, reach out to us, and you know, we can show you how to do that.
Thanks for that, Henry. And Lee, thanks so much for a great demo there. And certainly there's a lot more to talk about, a lot more to share. I might suggest that we have a few more of these showcase get-togethers where we can actually look at certain of the other aspects. For example, the human asset management within Smartz is so powerful that can take an hour just on its own. So just to everybody, to the panelists, thank you very much for the time that you put in today and for the presentation, and for the attendees. Thank you so much for spending this hour with us. We certainly hope you find it valuable. I will make a copy of the recording of this demonstration available, and we'll send that out so you can share that with colleagues going forward. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay well, stay smart.